Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett from Texas joined the interview, and the first question went straight to the biggest headline of the week: Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene announcing she plans to resign on January 5th. The interviewer asked Crockett what ran through her mind the moment she heard the news. Crockett said that her reaction was honestly, "You've got to be kidding me." She explained that Greene stood against the president for just 1 week and already she felt overwhelmed. Crockett pointed out how different that is from her own experience. As a Democrat who's regularly on the opposite side of the president, she deals with constant pressure and hostility. She added that people like Greene often help stir up that anger, and the backlash that comes from it can be especially dangerous for someone like her. Despite that, Crockett said she never loses sight of the fact that she represents the people of Texas 30, and her job is to focus on policies that help her community rather than worrying about whether the president is mad at her. Then, a clip was played from Greene's resignation video. In it, Greene claimed she was being attacked for standing up for women who were abused or trafficked as teenagers, and for supporting the release of the Epstein files. She said that being called a traitor by the president, someone she had defended in the past, was unfair, and part of the reason she was leaving Congress. When Crockett was asked about Greene's claim that this was all connected to the Epstein files, she pushed back. She reminded viewers that the president has gone after several Republicans in recent weeks, including Thomas Massie and Lauren Boebert, and they have all managed to withstand the criticism without resigning. Crockett noted that Greene has been one of the loudest voices in the MAGA movement and has helped fuel division and hostility for years. Now that she's facing the same treatment she encouraged, Crockett questioned why Greene is reacting so differently from other Republicans. She said it raises the question, why can everyone else stand firm, but she can't? The interviewer then brought up news from the House Oversight Committee, where Crockett serves. The committee announced Friday night that it is expanding its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Crockett said that she doesn't know details yet because leadership is keeping things very controlled to prevent interference. She reminded viewers about what happened the last time the committee took a major step, when they issued a subpoena for Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Crockett, shortly afterward, people linked to the president showed up at Maxwell's cell, and the planned committee meeting never happened. She said the meeting could have gone very differently if the committee had gotten the chance to question Maxwell directly. This time, leadership wants to avoid any disruptions. Next, the interviewer brought up something said by the Oversight Committee chairman, James Comer of Kentucky. Comer claimed Democrats were only interested in the Epstein files so they could smear the president. Crockett said that accusation makes no sense. She said Democrats have absolutely no idea what names appear in those files, whether they involve Trump or not. She explained that Republicans have been the ones repeatedly talking about cleaning out the Democratic names and protecting Republican ones. Crockett said she doesn't care who is listed. What matters is the truth. She said if the country believes in law and order, then people should want to know who broke the law, who helped Epstein operate, and who in government may have looked the other way. She listed several areas the investigation should focus on, like fake immigration documents survivors have mentioned, possible involvement from foreign governments, and sham companies, especially so-called modeling agencies, that may have been used as fronts for trafficking. Crockett said it's important to know whether any of these operations still exist under new names. The goal, she emphasized, is not only to secure justice for survivors, but also to prevent more victims from suffering through similar systems. The interview then shifted to another controversy involving Crockett. Recently, she accused former Republican Congressman, now EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, of accepting campaign money from Jeffrey Epstein. It later turned out that the donor was Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, a neurosurgeon from Long Island, not the convicted sex offender. Crockett corrected the record immediately. Now the doctor is joking to the New York Post that he wants to donate to her campaign just so she'll have to admit she accepted money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Crockett laughed about the situation, saying that if anyone alive named Jeffrey Epstein wants to donate just to appear in her campaign filings, she's fine with that. She noted the infamous Epstein is dead, so no one would ever confuse the two unless he somehow came back to life. Then came the question many people have been watching closely. Is Crockett going to run for the Texas Senate seat currently held by Senator John Cornyn? There is uncertainty about whether Cornyn will even survive a Republican primary given the divide inside the GOP. Crockett confirmed that she had a meeting with pollsters this week and received new polling data. She said she is still seriously considering the race. She explained that the next step is determining whether a strong enough campaign structure could be built to make a real run at winning. She is also continuing to watch the Republican side because they are, in her words, in a civil war over who their nominee will be. She said Cornyn has served Texas for decades, but may not be MAGA enough to get through his primary. Crockett plans to make a final decision by Thanksgiving. When asked what the polling showed, Crockett shared a few details. She said she performs very well in a head-to-head matchup with Ken Paxton and is within the margin of error against John Cornyn. She explained that the only reason she is still considering the race is because the numbers show she could realistically win. However, she added that polls don't mean anything unless the campaign can execute. Whether the opponent is Cornyn or Paxton, she said she feels confident about her chances, though she admitted she would prefer to face Paxton.